another Sunday riff off. Welcome to our Transformational Truth expectation free space where you get to come as you are. There is an open invitation just for you to journey with us into the heart of transformational truth. And either every Sunday, every other Sunday, kind of however we decide to flow it, we are doing these riff offs where we have a wheel and we're going to spin the wheel and it's going to land on a topic. We don't know what that topic is. Kind of fun. And when we land on that topic, then we're just going to give you our raw, unfiltered thoughts so that you can see where we're at. And then over the next couple of weeks inside our Transformational Truth Facebook group, which we hope that you've joined, we will be digging into the content from that particular topic. And we kind of have something cool for you if you would ever like to do one of these riff offs with us. Rochelle, you want to tell them a little bit about that?
Sure. So we have decided that as we're continually growing in our journeys together, that there are so many tools, and one of our favorite tools are books. And so we've decided that we want to give an option to you of which book you want to, have for participating in these really fun ripoffs. Like, I am so looking forward to today's because I love the spontaneity of it. Ugh, I can't even talk.
That was a great word, though.
Yes. So we have two books right now, and we're going to be rotating these books out. So the first one is one that I actually got to be a part of. We Choose Joy. I got to co-author this with 21 other women. And it's just really talking about, we all have our different stories. It was a beautiful anthology, or is a beautiful anthology, of how 22 women just decided to choose joy despite their circumstances. And the circumstances are all different, and just super excited. So I will personally sign and give you a personalized message for this one. And then Ashley has a book on her heart that she has been digging into. And so Ashley, tell us about that one.
Yeah, no, this is a book called Worthy. It actually just got released. I posted in the group, in our Transformational Truth group, about it. I actually did like a 13-hour launch with this where there are all these speakers and different things. Worthiness is something, we actually did a book club in this space. We mentioned it on our last podcast as well, but we did a book club all focused on Brene Brown's The Gifts of Imperfection. And one of the things that a lot of us walked away with from that particular book club was that so many of our, I don't know, things that come up in our life that are struggles or obstacles are really rooted in worthiness. And so I'm actually a big fan of the Ed Milet podcast and stumbled onto Jamie Lee Curtin through that podcast, signed up for all of this. And now I have this book and I'm reading it, and we're going to be doing a book club on it in June this year. And so if you want to get a head start, you want to get your copy, really, like she said, all we're looking for is for people to participate in these riff offs. So we'd love for you to, comment on them. We'd love for you to post new topics, but really the books are for some people who are ready to jump on and maybe do one of these riff offs with us. And so we're just embracing the imperfection side of things because they don't need to be perfect. It's just your raw, unfiltered thoughts. And like we said, this is just an expectation free space. So we hope that you're enjoying the fun that comes from these riff offs. And we hope that knowing that you get to choose a book would be something that maybe incentivizes you a little bit to jump on with us here. So without waiting anymore, are we ready to spin for this week?
I'm so ready.
I'm so ready. Okay, here we go. So our topic for this week, I feel like we need a drum roll sound here.
Oh, I can't do it.
Oh my goodness. Okay, aiming for awareness is our topic for this week. And so here's what you guys need to know. When Rochelle and I were just getting on, literally this morning, we were talking about, I wonder what topic is going to come up. And we were talking about how we kind of wrapped up the self-love focus that we've had for these last 2 weeks. And Rochelle, I don't know that we could have ended up with a better topic than aiming for awareness to follow that up. I feel like that is such a natural segue, especially considering some of your personal revelations, like from our self-love topic, and also things that you and I, just spaces that you and I have been in, conversations that we've had with people. What an amazing topic.
I know, and something I said in my post last night while I was wrapping up the self-love is that I feel like every topic is going to be perfect.
Hmm.
Uh, and that's really like the purpose of not only having like, aiming for awareness, but also being in that space of flow. And
Mm,
I know that all of that is just it's an organic thing. And I think that
yes.
that's just like the beauty of being on transformational truth journeys is because it's all about just letting it flow rather than force. Because I feel like we tend to struggle more in life when there's more like, truly focusing on I don't know the right way of saying it, like forcing it tends to block us. I guess that's
I
my
think that's
point.
a great way to put it.
Yeah. So aiming for awareness. Oh, there's so much we
I
could talk about.
know. I know.
How much
So
time do we have today?
I know. Well, here are some of the thoughts that I'm having right now. I feel like I'm so glad that you brought up that in this transformational truth journey, awareness is such a key. I feel like awareness is definitely, and we'll talk about this, I feel like a lot in lots of different topics, but it is not a destination. There's not like a moment where you're like, oh, I'm completely aware. I know all the things. I'm well aware of, what's happening in me, outside of me, what's going on with people in my life, how those things are impacting me. I feel like, I don't know, I've been digging into an awareness of myself and an awareness of others really for decades. And I would not say that there is a moment where I'm like, yeah, no, I've got this figured out. So it's definitely a journey. I think the other thing that comes to mind for me is intention, because
Mhm.
I think that when we're thinking about becoming aware, we have to set an intention for awareness. And then this is so raw, like my brain is just spinning. But the other thing that's coming up for me that I feel like I'd like to dig into today, just as we're processing, is how much fear of what we might find blocks our willingness to be aware. Less about like, do we actually know what's happening? But I think a lot of times there's a fear there of like, if I dig in too deeply, what exactly is it that I'm going to find? And if I find what I think I'm going to find, what am I going to have to do about it? And so I don't know. Intention and fear, those are like
Deep.
kind of the things that are hitting me right now.
Yeah, what came up for me as you were talking was the imperfection part of it
Mm,
as well, because I feel that so much of what we do is stunted or destroyed by worrying if we're going to do it perfectly
mm.
and giving ourselves that permission to do it imperfectly. I mean, what we're doing here is perfectly imperfect. And I think that once I gave myself personally that permission to step into things imperfectly, they became the perfect space.
Mm,
And that is so much of like aiming for awareness that it's not going to be perfect.
mhm.
We went into this whole self-love thing last time, and I was like, oh, I've got this. I do such a great job of this. And then the universe is like, oh, really? Let's
Challenge accepted.
yeah, challenge accepted. Let's, and I think that that's like so much of the value of these riff offs as well as
Mhm,
that it gives us that opportunity to go, all right, what you got, and if you're following along with all of these and maybe like even making a note card, like this is just
oh,
coming making like a note card or putting it like on the front of my phone or whatever the topic, the space, the
mm,
whatever in that, and really being present in, whether we do it for a week or we do it for 2 weeks or whatever it happens to be, that is what I want my energy to go towards, and what lesson, like be open to what lessons am I meant to
mm,
experience, what awareness am I supposed to have in this moment, this time frame, this whatever, because I'll tell you what, I didn't expect to write what I wrote last night. I
mm.
didn't even know I had that until I stopped. the power of the pause. And that's where a lot of the awareness comes from. And I think that that's why we live in a stay busy society,
Mm,
because we're trying to avoid the awareness that is sitting and waiting for us so that we don't have to. And I find a lot of more value in life when I'm sitting in the nothing.
mm-hmm. Yeah, you're so right.
It's not being on my phone. It's not watching a TV show. It's not whatever. It's like literally doing nothing. Whether I'm sitting and I'm looking outside, whether I'm sitting in a bath, whether I'm outside, whatever. It's literally nothing is more valuable at times than something.
Yeah. There's two things that as you were talking, it was making me think about. One, I love that you were talking about just being open. And I think that so many of us don't actually know how many like shields and blocks that we have up. And some of those come from like past things that we've dealt with, shields that we've decided to put up in this, I don't know, desire for protection, right? Desire to like keep us safe, keep, that little, like keep little Ashley in there, right? Safe. And so I think openness goes hand in hand with awareness, because if you're not open to those lessons that you're learning, or the lessons you could be learning, or the things that you could be seeing, then awareness is always going to feel out of reach, right? So I
Mhm.
thought that was really good. I also feel like when I was hearing you talk about just, I don't know, what it looks like to be open and some of those other kinds of things, it made me think about the stories that we tell ourselves about the things that we become aware of. And so it kind of goes back to the fear thing that I was talking about earlier. But I think when we're sitting in stillness, or when we're sitting and we're trying to be open, or when we're setting an intention to become more aware, that there can be a moment where the awareness is increasing, right? Or we are open and there are things coming in. But equally important then is the story that we tell ourselves about that which we're becoming aware of, right? And so I don't know, I just think about in my own life things that I've become aware of. And it's important that I think about, okay, well, I'm doing the very best that I can every single day when I show up. And when I know better, then I can choose better. And so I'm not going to necessarily judge like past versions of me for not being as aware as I am right now about things that impact me. So I think that, I don't know, as we're digging into this, I feel like there's a lot that is going to come up in that arena for people too, where if you become more aware of something, then you also have to be intentional about what you tell yourself about that new awareness, or how you allow that new awareness to either become a part of you or to define you in some way, shape, or form. So I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's also opening up a larger capacity for self-love.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. I
And I
couldn't
think
agree with you
having
more.
a plan, like one of the things I'm thinking about maybe talking about this week in my group is having a plan for what happens when you have more self-awareness.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
because sometimes it can hit you out of nowhere and you go, what do I do with this? And you were saying something about, having love and compassion for the past versions of yourself. And I think that any part of this, just like I gave myself permission to have kind of a plan for the self-love thing, is writing out a personal plan, or maybe like
Mm.
uh when I become more aware of myself, how will I treat myself?
Oh,
And
yeah.
how will I show up in spaces that are going to change?
Mm.
Because I know that sometimes with my self-awareness journey, I tend to have unrealistic expectations of others to have that same awareness of themselves because
Oh,
I'm there.
Michelle. Uh-huh.
Why can't you be there? I just got there. Yeah, see, this is the magic of the riff offs because this is just flowing.
I know.
Why can't you be there? Because I'm there now.
Uh-huh. Well, and it kind of goes back to, I mean, a lot of us have experienced things that like once you see something, you can't unsee it,
Mhm.
right? And so that's kind of a thing with awareness is like when I see something in me, but or when I see something in others, once I become aware, it's really hard to unsee it. And then it's hard to manage your emotions as you're watching it, knowing that you ultimately don't have control over what somebody else is doing with that information, or their lack of information, or their lack of awareness, whatever that happens to be. I think this is going to be a really deep topic. I definitely am feeling a 2 week topic here
Oh,
because
it's at least me. Yeah.
yeah, because I'm just really fascinated. And I'm really curious right now. If you're listening, we'd love for you to drop some comments. We'd love for you to share this out. We'd love for you to think about what are some things that you would like for us to dig into with this. I'm really curious about your own personal awareness journeys. Are there things that have happened for you in the last, I don't know, 6 months to a year, 5 years, a decade, whatever? Don't put a time limit on it. But that you feel like you've had this moment of becoming aware. And I'm really curious how that went for you. I'm also really curious what people, I love that you were talking about that, Rochelle, like having a strategy, right? For when I'm becoming aware. I'm actually really obsessed with your note idea. And I'm thinking that one of the things that I would love to hear if people are into this. But I'm wondering if when we do our topics, like from these riff offs, if we can make a screensaver for people to like put on their phone. And you were, dashing off some questions there that I thought were really good. And I was thinking for myself, that's something that I think I would like to have on my screensaver on my phone as a topic. And then, even some guiding questions that can be something that I lean into the whole time. The last thing that I'll say about all this. So I hope you guys are liking, commenting, dropping things the whole time. We would love to know what you think about all this and directions that you hope we go. I'm also going to encourage everybody, and Rochelle, this isn't going to surprise you at all because we occupy so many of the same spaces, but in a week like this versus so self-love, I feel like is one of those kinds of things where there were probably a lot of things that we were thinking about doing or being in that space, like how am I going to show up for myself, a little bit action oriented. And the awareness space, I feel like the main action that I would choose is for you to have a pen and paper nearby, or to have something, that you can lean into. I'm already considering what my own journaling is going to look like over these next 2 weeks. And I feel like having something like that close. Awareness is something that increases the more we talk about it and the more that we write about it, like not just letting those things pass through our minds. We don't want to just like these brief moments of awareness when we can get something that really means something and really matters. I feel like putting pen to paper or making time for a conversation like this is extremely significant. So
I love my wheels are spinning so much. Oh, surprise, surprise. Yeah. Just get ready. I've
yep,
got some stuff I'm going to be sharing in the group because a lot of tools. That's where my brain is going, are
yep,
like tools to support you all and support myself in this journey. So just get
yeah,
ready. Like dedicate some time over the next 2 weeks
yeah.
with some pen and paper because yeah, my brain is spinning. So
I
I
love
love,
that.
yeah.
Man, these riff offs are great. These riff offs are great. I'm like, the last time Rochelle and I did one of these, I sat down and I wrote for like 3 hours straight. I was like, I need processing time, and this is going to be even more significant. So we hope that you guys enjoyed today's episode. This is the Transformational Truth Sunday Riff Off. Please remember that this is a totally expectation-free space and that we are just so excited to journey forward with you on this road to transformational truth. Make sure to tune in all week in our Facebook group, Transformational Truth. That's where all the content's going to be as we go through and we process all of this. Make sure to like and share all of this because we're really hoping to build and cultivate a community filled with empowered, self-led women who are willing to dig into important topics, dig into things that matter. So we love you guys and we can't wait to see you in our Facebook group.
Thank you.